Hey everyone, welcome to the show. Isaiah Pola-Mao. He is a 6'4", 205-pound redshirt junior safety for the USC Trojans, joining us right now on Tunnel Vision. Isaiah, man, how you doing?
I'm good, man. How you guys doing?
Doing okay. Zay, they go by Zay, right? Your name
Yes,
came
sir.
up on the Zoom as Zay.
Yeah, Isaiah is cool.
Are you 6'4", 205 now, or is it your dimensions changed a little bit?
No, right now it's 205, but the goal weight is a solid 210, 215.
Okay. We'll talk about like kind of your off-season workouts and how you're going to get to that goal. But do they still consider you a redshirt junior with everyone's eligibility frozen from the 2020 season?
Yeah, I actually don't know how any of that is working out, but I think I am still a redshirt junior. Technically, I don't think it counted last year, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, a friend of our mutual friend we have said, I have to ask you about your hair. Are you growing it out like your
Yeah,
uncle Troy Polamalu, if people don't know you?
I'm gonna just let it go. I'm just gonna let it grow out and see how long it can get.
All right. Well, we want to get into some of the stuff of what you've been doing, but last year you were a team captain. When you were, so you're voted by your peers to be the team captain. What did that mean to you last year?
It's everything. It was such an honor and such a blessing for that to be put on me. It's just a sign of respect from my peers, and that's all I really strive for is just the respect of my brothers.
So for your career, you got I think 20 starts in the 21 games you've played, 121 total tackles. You've had a sack, 5 picks, and you had 3 interceptions in a row back in 2019. 12 passes defended. You forced a fumble, and then 3 fumble recoveries last year in 2020. That was kind of crazy. I mean, what was going through for that when you had like 3 opportunities to recover a fumble last year?
It was just kind of opportunity just presented itself, and I just shot my gun, and it just everything played out perfectly.
So one of them was the onside kick, right? That was one of the crazy ones.
Yeah, no, they tried I think it was a fake punt.
Oh, the fake punt. I'm sorry. Yes,
Yeah,
the
they
fake
tried a
punt.
fake punt, and Talanoa and my other safety, Michael Kroom, were on it. It just fell right there. I'm just like, I gotta get it.
Yeah, it was a shortened season. How did you feel you performed last year?
I feel like I got better as each game came along. I think that's with a lot of guys. It just kind of comes when the season gets going. But last year was very fun for me.
The Talanoa Funga, obviously, had a lot of accolades last year. Your partner in the secondary, you end up getting all Pac-12 honorable mention. Did you feel like that was about right, or did you feel like you could have got a little bit better?
I mean, personally, I know I can be much more than that, but like it's what the film presents. But I definitely am striving for that this year.
So the season was crazy. Like you guys didn't even know if you were going to have a season. Obviously, we can kind of get in that a little bit. But what was it like? What was your experience like being a student athlete and kind of being in a makeshift bubble, I guess you could say, in 2020?
It was definitely crazy. I'll say that it was always like, man, what's gonna happen next, or am I gonna be okay, or is it gonna be a false positive, or it was just a whole lot going on. You got to focus on your health, and then you still want to keep going and try to get better at football. So it was a lot at one time, with school and two. But I'm just grateful for the opportunity to play, and just happy that I got to go through everything that we did last year.
What was that testing like? I mean, every day you said, there was false positives. There's, there's been reports about that coming from your team where someone would have to be held out of practice because of false positive. What was that like going through that every day?
It was like so random. It was like you never know what was gonna happen. Really, everybody's been safe, and it was just like sometimes you might get one person here that's gone, and like somebody just has to step up the next week. So it's like, man, like what else can happen?
Yeah. Well, the season almost didn't happen at all, and a big reason what we feel is that the USC players actually did, come together and write that letter to Governor Gavin Newsom, sort of like opening up the opportunity for the rest of the Pac-12 to play. What
Yeah.
did you think of that letter, and what part did you play in that, if any?
I was just there with my brothers. There was some other guys that was kind of taking the helm on this, but it was, to me, it was very powerful because I don't think it's happened before to where the players had that much of like a power or a say so. But I think it brought us closer together because it just showed that people were even more hungry to play.
How excited were you guys when it looked like, hey, this is going to happen? There's, early November, there's going to be Pac-12 football.
It was awesome. I mean, like everybody's just sitting at home. It's such a weird feeling watching everybody else play college football and we're just at home. So it's like, man, it just didn't feel right. So when we were finally getting the word to come back together, man, it was awesome.
Yeah. I don't know how much college football you get to watch. Was the team kind of watching it, and it had to make it worse, right? Just seeing other people play.
Yeah, sometimes we wouldn't even watch the games. We would watch like other players play, but like it was definitely hard to watch.
Yeah. I know. Remember the Big Ten started like 2 weeks before you guys. Was that just a little worse because like, man, they were the sort of our partners of not playing,
Man, it was like we were both right there, and then they get to go ahead, and we're just sitting here like, man, we're just waiting.
Yeah. Well, the late start, obviously there was, more restrictions out here in California in the Pac-12. You didn't really get, spring football. You had one practice. The install stuff, a lot of it was over Zoom because you had an entire new defensive staff. How hard was that to kind of run this new defense without having spring football and really, a kind of normal fall camp?
I think you got to give credit to Coach Nive and Coach T.O., but they put a whole lot of time in making us understand the bigger picture and like why we do little things. So it's all that time over Zoom. I think it really helped us, but it's not the same of getting on the field and actually running the plays and doing all that. So I think like I said before, we got better as the season went along, but I think we definitely felt that like no preseason or not preseason, but no off season and just all that not being with each other. I think we definitely felt that in the like earlier games.
You mentioned Craig Nivar. He's just a fun guy to talk to. He's your position coach, gregarious. He's a good recruiter. What has that been like for you? What's your relationship like with him?
And I love the guy. He really pushes you to be the best you can be. It's not just about football. It's about being a better man and a better person, just academically and just in life. He's all of that. He's a funny guy. He's gonna make you laugh, but then he's also gonna get on you when he knows that you can do better.
Yeah. So as far as like technique and stuff, what has he kind of taught you, or what are things maybe little lessons he's provided that you kind of stick with you?
He actually just helped me get more comfortable back there and just play looser. Not worry about techniques as much, but get the ball down. It's all about the game within the game with him. So it's playing the little plays, learning little tips on the offense before, like it's more mental things with him. So, he's definitely awesome.
What's the kind of post game like? If you watch some film with him, what's that experience kind of like?
You got to take everything he says with a grain of salt sometimes. He's always going to get mad at you. So it doesn't matter who you are. He's always going to try to better you.
Yeah, that makes sense. Sort of a tough love kind of thing sometimes.
Yeah.
If you look back on it now, I don't know how much film you've watched. Like, how do you feel the USC secondary played in 2020?
I think we're amazing, really. I think we did a lot of things right. Sometimes the ball doesn't go our way or a flag doesn't go our way, but I think we did phenomenal with just the amount of time that we had together and then what we actually did. I think this whole nother offseason with these guys, this could be scary next year.
Yeah, you're going through the offseason now. I'm sorry, didn't mean to continue.
Go ahead.
But you're going through it now. You could have left. You had some of your, everyone could have come back, but 6 of you guys end up declaring for the NFL. What was that decision process like for you?
After we lost the game, it wasn't didn't go as planned, obviously, but I kind of just separated myself from everything and just kind of appreciated what we went through and everything. And I was just really appreciative of like the people that I was with. So, I took a lot of time just to think about, is this the right decision for me or am I being selfish? I was battling with myself, but ultimately this is where my heart is. I love this place. And, I really believe that Coach Niver and Coach Teo could get me even better.
So those guys being around, Todd Orlando, the new defensive coordinator, was that a significant part of your decision to return?
Definitely. I love the system that we have, and I know personally that these guys can get me better. And with the new strength coaching, it was a lot that kind of played into it.
Did you get some sort of NFL evaluation, and what did they tell you, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, they told me some things that I wasn't really liking. I mean, personally, I think I'm the greatest, but other people have their opinions. But yeah, I mean, I just thought about myself. Somebody told me something, and they said if I wasn't completely confident to come back and be all Pac-12 and be an All-American and do all this, then I shouldn't be leaving. So that kind of hit me, and I was like, well, that's facts.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. You also had a kind of candid conversation with Talanoa Funga after that, the loss to Oregon in the Coliseum. What was that conversation like? I mean, if you want to share any of it.
Yeah, we just talked a whole lot about life, just how far football had brought us and how thankful we were for just the opportunity just to be here, really. Because, a lot of people would kill to be where we were and where we were standing, so we were kind of just expressing that love for the game and for one another. And it was just real nice.
Did you get a sense then he was going to, forego any eligibility to go to the NFL?
Yeah, I definitely could feel it in my heart that it was his time to go. Like he did everything he could, and I've seen him work so hard for this all season. So he definitely earned it.
Yeah. Did he give you any advice on that? If what you were trying to decide to?
Yeah, he kind of just told me follow my heart and just really do what's best for me.
Yeah. So like we talked about, you're a team captain. You guys are in the off-season workouts now. What's your role kind of been for that? I mean, if you guys start doing some player run practices, are you going to be more involved with that? What have you been doing as a captain, this offseason?
It's Coach Niver has really been putting an emphasis on being that vocal leader, and which I pride myself on being. I'm talk all about communication and just being on the same page. But it's also that step about bringing along your brothers. And that's something I've been working on. Sometimes when I'm tired, I get in my head and just think about, man, let's get through this. But sometimes it's better to bring one of my brothers along with me,
That makes sense. There's some new faces too. As far like you get a transfer coming in, Xavier Alford. Any impressions from him watching him in these workouts?
Yeah, I love his work ethic, actually. He's just a straight to it guy. He doesn't really talk about what he's going to do. It's just going to get straight to it and work. And that's what I love.
Is it hard for someone like that who went through, they have their own football culture. You've gone through your own stuff. You have your own coaches, your strength coaches, all that, and then come into a brand new place. Has that been a interesting transition for him? Have you kind of helped him through that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely getting used to it, but he's fitting right in. It's nothing but respect and love from all of us on this side. We just respect work, and that's all he's about.
Speaking of transitions, you got guys making the high school to college transition. So Zamarian Gordon, Anthony Beavers, and Kalen Bullock in your position group in the safeties, I believe all those guys are. What have you seen from the young guys out there so far?
Man, they got a lot to learn, but they're definitely showing promise, man. I like these guys. They're ready to work. They're hungry, and that's what I love. They're ready to learn.
Do you kind of see yourself back? I guess it was 4 or 5 years ago now when you kind of came in. You see some of the traits you had when you were coming in as a freshman.
Oh, definitely. It's really funny because it's like, to me, it seems like it was not that long ago. Like I was just doing nothing with like these guys are doing. Like it's just funny to see like how time flies.
Yeah. Do you kind of take them under your wing a little bit, give them any advice, or you've been kind of helping them out as a veteran?
I mean, every day we work out, we have different partners. We switch freshmen, so it's just getting these guys and helping them understand that it's not that big of a difference. We're still a family in here and we're still going to get to work.
What have they kind of looked? Anything stand out from some of those guys individually that you liked what you saw?
Yeah, I like how none of them really quit. We go through some real hard work here, and they never doubted themselves, and I like to see that because something that I struggled with was my confidence going like transitioning here from high school to college. So they really believe in themselves and they understand that we believe in them. So it's like gives them that extra step to go even further.
Right now, are you working with the coaches at all? Or is it mostly just the strength and conditioning staff?
It's mostly strength and conditioning, but the coaches be in there like walking around like Knife just running up and down the halls yelling at everybody. But yeah, it's a nice little environment in there.
Have you talked to Craig Navar about switching roles? You were playing free safety last year. Would you want to take over the sort of role that Talanoa Hufanga had last year, or do you think you're going to stay where you were?
I think we're gonna all be able to like be interchangeable, you know. But that position to make them plays are definitely open, and I definitely accept that challenge to step up my game and make those plays that Talanoa is making.
Is it how different of a role is that? What he was doing, where you kind of move around? Maybe we saw him play some like linebacker stuff.
Yeah.
How is it a pretty different role than what you would have done last year?
I don't think it's a different role. It might be a little more closer to the box, but it's not that much of a difference. We all do the same thing. He just makes some crazy plays,
Yeah.
From all over the field.
Do you feel comfortable closer to the box? Is that something you like to do? Because you've done a lot. You've picked passes off. You've recovered fumbles. You've forced fumbles. Sacked the quarterback. Like, is that something that you enjoy?
Yeah, I definitely pride myself on being versatile. I want to be able to do it all. So just being put in those positions, yeah, I definitely would love to do that.
We talked about these winter workouts quite a bit. So I believe you're third strength and conditioning coach now. Robert Stiner.
Yes, sir.
Comes in, Ivan Lewis and then Aaron Osmus. Is that how? Those are the guys you spend the most time with. How different is it when you have to go through like a whole new system? This will be your third one of strength and conditioning.
Mm-hmm. It's the work isn't that different. At the end of the day, you're gonna have to do work. But I've had all strength and conditioning coaches, and they've all been great people. And Coach Steiner is one of those great people. He definitely wants to develop us not only in the weight room and on the football field, but outside. He encourages us to volunteer and do stuff like that. Get out into the community and help people. So it's just like he definitely wants us to be better people.
Now, this is his first time, Robert Steiner's first time running a program. He comes over from Notre Dame, really successful there as an assistant. That's a transition too. What have your initial impressions been of him first time running a program? And it's a big time one, at USC.
Yeah, it's a real serious thing. He came in and it was like straight to it. He said hello. He said, let's get to work. Can't wait to see you guys. And that was just about it. And other than that, we just put our heads down and just start working. And even his workouts are like that. It's right to it. You get thrown in the fire and it's like, all right, it's time to work. Like, so
yeah,
it's fun working with him.
So are there guys like when you're like going in that first meeting, or guys like whispering like, what are we going to be doing? Because like, this is, you get 20 hours a week or whatever. A lot of people don't know, like you spend more time with the strength staff than you do your assistant coaches, is because you're not allowed to by NCAA rules. Is this like how worries, like you get a new teacher or something, you're like, I don't know what this year is going to be like, who this teacher is,
Yeah, everybody, we were sitting in the meeting, everybody's just like waiting to see what he's going to say and who it is. And then he comes on camera, he just doesn't say anything for like a couple seconds. And he's just like, yeah, nice to meet you guys. Can't wait to work. Let's get to it. And everybody's just like, what's it gonna look like? What are the workouts like? Like, everybody's like ready to ask some questions and kind of get some insight. But he's just like, yep, I'll see you guys when I see you.
Yeah. What is that's crazy. But then obviously he's got your attention now. We get to see some of the social media videos and stuff. What do you think the biggest difference is? Everyone has different philosophies how to train student athletes for college football. What are kind of some of the bigger differences you've seen that he's brought to the table?
I think we focus a little more on core and our explosiveness. I love what Coach Double was doing. No disrespect to him, but it was a little more stats wise and a little more like benching and what the numbers look like. And here, I think we do a little more football specific drills and football specific like workouts. So that's what I kind of like.
Sometimes if you're just changing the workout, it's just, you might get in the same routine, you change things up and it's like, oh, I've seen results. Like, have you kind of seen results already from the first few weeks or whatever with these workouts?
Oh yeah, my body's changed completely. Like, what we do is just crazy. We do some unorthodox things that's like gonna test your all complete strength core. And it's just like, all right, I've never done this, but like, I like this. So it's like, you know, he's gonna put you in those awkward positions, but then you have to also be able to like be strong in those weird positions, you know,
Yeah.
because
Uh,
anything happens in football.
yeah, I mean, it seems like, it'll be, we don't get to watch you guys do that kind of stuff, but we'll get to see some of hopefully if we get to watch spring football, we'll
Yeah.
see some. But yeah, speaking of, you should be starting, Clay Elton said end of April, it might be, beginning of April might be the end of March. What are you kind of looking forward to for spring football this year? Hopefully having all 15 practices instead of just one, but what are you looking forward to?
I'm excited to see how we gel as a team. You know, we had a lot of people leave, a lot of people come in. And, you know, they haven't really been with us in the fire. They haven't really battled with us. So I want to see how that goes. I want to see how some of the young guys stack up against some of the older dudes. You know, so it's a lot to see, but I'm really excited.
Do you have any goals for yourself for spring football? You're a veteran, you've been around the block a bunch of times, but anything you want to accomplish in spring football?
I want to be better mentally. You know, seeing little things before the play even starts. That's where I want to be more mental. I want to play the game kind of like how my uncle did. You know, he knew things before it even happened, and almost like Talanoa did.
Yeah. Did you see, knowing your uncle Troy Polamalu, being close to Talanoa Funga, people kind of compare those guys sometimes. Like, do you see some similarities in their game just because you mentioned them?
Yeah, like he's probably the closest I've seen to my uncle. He just plays with straight instincts, and you know he takes risks, and you know a lot of times he's right.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to watch those two guys
Yeah,
play from back in
yeah,
the day. You mentioned the young guys. Sometimes spring football is a lot for the younger players. This is a really weird situation now because all the freshmen that came in last year, they're still freshmen, right? And now you add, you guys like 50 freshmen on the roster.
yeah.
Is that kind of weird in the meeting rooms? It's like it's full of freshmen, even though you had a bunch of guys there last year that they were on for 6 games, but
Yeah.
they probably still feel like freshmen to you.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is, but you know, I think those guys might have a little more experience and just might not be as wide-eyed as some of the new guys will. You know, so they kind of been around, kind of seen how practice moves.
Yeah, I think there's like more freshmen on the roster than the rest of the classes combined. I mean, that's just
That actually sounds crazy. I have to think about that.
because sometimes you're like, as a class, you're like, oh, we're the juniors or we're the we could pick on the freshmen, but the freshman class is going to be bigger than all.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's nuts. Last thing for you. This will be year 2 of the Todd Orlando defense. Obviously, you had a slow start just because there wasn't really a lot of time to prep. What are your expectations for this defense going forward?
I think we kept the playbook relatively simple last year, but with the guys that we have coming back and kind of the experience that we have in some places, I think that we can take an even bigger step as a defense. Just I thought the secondary was shut down last year, but I think we can meet even more with taking the ball away. The D line getting even more sacks. Just making the plays that come to them. So I think that's what we got to focus on this spring and just making their plays.
All right, we're looking forward to getting to watch you. Hopefully in the spring, if not, the fall. We hope things are back to normal. I hope you guys all stay safe. But really, Isaiah Pola-Mao, USC safety. Appreciate you coming on the show. Thanks so much.
Yes, sir.